What is going on, guys? Matt Downs with Daily Grind Fantasy Sports to help give you the edge for this NBA showdown slate between the Clippers and Phoenix Suns. Cannot wait to break it down. If you guys are brand new to this channel, we provide both free and paid content for all daily fantasy sports across all sports. If you could please show your support by hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, and of course smashing that like button for all of our future NBA content. If you would like to know more about becoming a better DFS player and taking down that big GPP, head over to www.patreon.com/DGFantasy for more information. Now let's go ahead and dive right into this NBA 2-game slate, and we have to go over the injury report before we do anything else because that paints a really good picture on what these rotations are going to look like between the two teams that are playing tonight. First, on the Phoenix side, we have Nader. He is officially out. Chris Paul is back. So that's definitely going to affect the rotations and what we've been seeing here with this Phoenix Suns rotation and the lineups in general. So we will be paying attention to the Phoenix Suns, and then obviously with the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard is still out. Marcus Morris was questionable last game, ended up playing 25 minutes, which is below his average here in the playoffs. Has been normally playing between 35 and 40 minutes. So definitely something to be paying attention to here, but Kawhi Leonard is the main guy out here for the Clippers. Taking a look at the two teams here, we're going to start out on the Phoenix side. And I'm going to keep it real with you guys. The Phoenix Suns really don't look that good on paper in terms of a point per dollar value. Like, I'm going to go up and down my favorite value plays here and who are my favorite plays overall, but it's just not that intriguing with Chris Paul in the mix. Now, one of these three superstars, talking about Booker, Paul, and Ayton, are going to hit a ceiling potential game, and it's just a matter of picking which one. If you can get two of the three in here, then yes, I'm fully about that. But it's more so on the Clippers side. I think pinning that mid-range value, knowing that Paul George is the automatic lock tonight, assuming he doesn't get into foul trouble or have any injury concerns throughout the entire game. But with the Phoenix Suns, as you guys can see here, it's a total mess. So Saric is technically my favorite point per dollar value. He is projected right now to play 12 minutes at $2,200. Again, I don't prefer him over some of the Clippers value. He did have a very good game, probably more of an outlier performance here in 13 minutes. He scored 18.25 fantasy points. That's over a fantasy point per minute, so definitely not on board here with Saric in terms of value. And then, like I said, Jay Crowder, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, we all know, and Mikal Bridges, we know that they're going to get a ton of minutes here, but their price tags are very, very high. Jay Crowder is probably my favorite option here. Did get a huge price decrease. I'm down to $5,800, was $7,200 last slate. So I do like Jay Crowder, just given his minute upside here. 33 projected minutes, dropped an absolute dud. I'm assuming that's the reason for his price drop. And then Devin Booker, 10.8K. Obviously, Chris Paul is going to eat into his production. He did come down $1,000. I still think that's a little too high for my liking. Again, we know that we have to get one of these three guys in here, Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton. Chris Paul is probably going to be my favorite option. Again, he didn't really have an injury concern since being out. We know that it was due to COVID protocols, so he should be back fully healthy and playing his full allotted minutes. Right now, he's projected at 33. We saw before he went out, he was playing 37 to 40, so I could easily see that minute projection being off and playing closer to that 40-minute mark. So, love Chris Paul, probably my favorite option of the three. DeAndre Ayton also here at 9K. Did have a great game last game and did break the slate. So for what it's worth, does have a really good matchup here. Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton are my favorite of the three. So I know that would mean I have to fade Devin Booker, and that sounds crazy. But if you're looking at it from a point per dollar perspective, I still really like Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton more so than Devin Booker. Jay Crowder is probably my favorite option here just in terms of minute upside, and you compare that with the price tag. And then everybody else is going to fall by the wayside here. Cameron Johnson, $4,400 doesn't make sense at 20 minutes. Cameron Payne completely out of the mix now. His stretch is now over. Torrey Craig, $3,800 at 13 minutes doesn't make sense. And then Etuan Moore, like if he's going to see the floor, sure, might be worth it as a pump play, but no. I have a lot more interest here on the Clippers side of the ball. And then flipping over to the Clippers side, as you can see, so much better value here on the very right side of your screen. We have Luke Kennard at a 7.6 point per dollar value. And again, these guys are getting minutes off the bench because of the absence of Marcus Morris. He's only playing about 25 minutes here. I do expect him to be playing closer to 30 minutes, but it is quite evident that that injury is affecting him. So Luke Kennard played a total of 19 minutes last game, is projected 19 again. We're just going to have to base it off of what happened last game. Right now we have him pinned for 15.2 points, and he's going to be one of my favorite punt plays here on this slate. Luke Kennard really only has to get to 8 points. He got 16.5, so got 8 times value last game, so definitely like him there. Patrick Beverley played some decent minutes, played 26 minutes in the last contest and was all over Booker. Didn't really succeed in that, but projected 27 minutes, comes out to a 7.5 point per dollar value. So I do love Luke Kennard, I do love Patrick Beverley, and I also like Rajon Rondo, even more so than Saric on the other side at $2,800. He played 17 minutes, and we know that historically Rajon Rondo is a fantastic fantasy point per minute player. He's exactly a 1 fantasy point per minute player here in the playoffs. Definitely like him. And then Zubac was inserted into the starting role last game and played 34 minutes at 5.2k. Love that price tag, love the minute upside. They're projecting him at 29, and I tend to agree with that. I don't think he plays as many minutes as we saw last game, just because they have to mix things up. Technically they lost last game, it was only by 1 point, a game winner there by DeAndre Ayton, but Zubac should be seeing starter minutes at 5.2k, and I love that price tag. Still a better fantasy point per minute player and value than Saric on the other side. So those 4 guys are my favorite value plays on the entire slate. Okay, we haven't even touched base on Paul George, Reggie Jackson, Batum. We haven't talked about them at all. Paul George is my next favorite option, and I am going to prefer him over Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton, just given his usage. Like, he has all the usage from Kawhi Leonard, whereas Chris Paul, Booker, Ayton, they have to spread it around. They just have to spread the ball around. And at 11.2k, I definitely like Paul George, especially given his 41 minutes. He has to step it up tonight if they want to keep this series close. They're a 1 point underdog at home. Technically, this is a 221 over under, so this should be a more defensive battle game than last night we saw between the Atlanta Hawks and Milwaukee Bucks. But Paul George, 11.2k, love the upside here, and he's probably going to be the chalk captain tonight at a 4.8 point per dollar value. Reggie Jackson, not really high on. I know he's getting the minute upside there, but I do prefer some of the Phoenix guys on the other side. Marcus Morris, just given his minute, I guess his minute upside right now is at projected 26 minutes. I don't really know what's going to happen with his minutes. I'm going to be avoiding him altogether. Man, Nicholas Batum is way too expensive for his fantasy point per minute. He's averaging 0.75 fantasy points per minute here in the playoffs. Not a fan of that. And DeMarcus Cousins saw 4 minutes last game, so don't like that at 1.6k. I do prefer Kennard, Beverley, Rondo, and Zubac as value plays over DeMarcus Cousins. And that will wrap up my DraftKings breakdown. Let's go ahead and switch over to our optimizer. And on the DG Fantasy Optimizer, we actually have crunch lineups between the industry average and our actual pro projections. And what that means is that this is taken from 3 major sources, and the combination of those points are added together and crunched into a lineup. So this is basically what the industry average is thinking. This is one of the major benefits that you get when signing up for DGFantasy.com. The $30 package gives you all this and the access to crunch a bunch of lineups if that's something that you do. But taking a look here at the industry average, we actually have Chris Paul at captain, Paul George, Kennard, so we also agree there, Devin Booker, Rajon Rondo, another good value play, and then DeAndre Ayton. So it looks like they have all 3 of Chris Paul, Booker, and Ayton paired with Kennard and Rondo as a value plays. I actually like that. They of course have Paul George in there. $49,900. I think that's going to be the chalk lineup, and I think that's where the industry is going to go. A very close variation of that. And then our projections, we have Paul George at captain. I do agree with that. We have Zubac, another great play, which we've talked about. Jay Crowder, my favorite option from the Suns. Booker, Reggie Jackson, and Beverley. All right, so what you're getting from our pro projections is the upside from Paul George. Should have a monster game tonight, paired with Zubac, the minute upside there. Jake Crowder, Booker. It looks like you're fading Chris Paul and Ayton. I definitely think that's more of a GPP lineup. The industry average looks very, very chalky. And if you're looking to get contrarian here, I would be leaning on the right side. I do like Pat Beverley just a little bit more in terms of value over Rajon Rondo. So I think that's a great lineup as well. Let's now switch over to our prize pick board. And if you guys haven't signed up for prize picks, first of all, enter code using DGF. You get 100% match up to $100 just for watching this video. It is a free promo, and prize picks is one of the easiest and best ways to play DFS today. You take the over or under on certain fantasy point projections. We also have prop picks here, single stat DFS picks on points, assists, rebounds, 3 points made. If you're into that type of thing, it's very, very easy. You don't have to worry about lineup construction. You simply pick the over or under of certain players. That being said, I love the Zubac over today. Played 34 minutes last game and easily crushed that prize pick over. Got 29.2 points. This projection is really, really low. He didn't even play that well. I mean, from a DFS perspective, averaged under a fantasy point per minute. I think he steps it up. And again, one of the minutes that won't really be affected here from Marcus Morris is going to be Zubac. He's going to have to be out there. And even if he only plays 25-ish minutes, he still should hit that 20-point mark. So I think Zubac way too low at 20 fantasy points. And that will wrap up my video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy this video. If you did, please do hit that subscription button, notification bell, and of course smash that like button for all of our future NBA content. With all that being said, have a great rest of your day, and let's cash.